The radical Democrat Party has become consumed by the unquenchable thirst of power. You know that. I don't know. You know, it's a term that I've heard for a long time. They want power, power, power. I don't know. I think it's power, it's money. I think it's a lot of things. I don't think it's just power. It's too ridiculous. They want to take away freedom of speech. They want to take away religious liberty. And Biden has already introduced legislation in Congress to take away your guns. You know, your guns are under siege. You do know that. And I told you all these things. Again, nobody ever thought what is happening would happen. In Texas, I said, we're going to win. We won Texas by a lot. We won Texas but they were against oil, guns, and God. And then you'd listen to the fake news. It's going to be a very close race in Texas. It wasn't very close at all. Republicans must never waver in protecting the Second Amendment and keep and bear arms. We have to have that power to keep and bear arms. If we don't, we will have a problem like nobody's ever seen before. But they want to take away your guns, and I said it before the election, and I say it after the election. The Biden administration has also issued regulations to indoctrinate America's school children with poisonous and divisive left-wing doctrines, such as critical race theory, and exact opposite of the American belief that we all are created equal in the holy image of God. We have a group of people, I don't know where they come from, but it's terrible. People that tend to be on the right compared to people that are on the radical left. Look at what happened in Portland. Nothing's happening with these people. And they do kill people, and they burn down buildings, and they go after federal buildings, and nothing happens. And people are damn angry about it. If government-run schools are going to indoctrinate children with radical ideas, Republicans must immediately pass legislation to empower every parent in America to opt out of the insanity and send their child to the public, private, charter, or religious school of their choice. When the Democrats say defund the police, open borders, sanctuary cities, all of these horrible, horrible cancel culture things, their policy is terrible. And I say a lot now. There's no way they go 50-50. Who the hell wants to defund the police? Look at what's happening where they're defunding the police. The crime rate is going up by 50, 60, 100%, 131% in one city. They don't even know what to do, but they keep doing it. The policy is so bad. You know what? They're smart. And I said, they're vicious and they stick together. But I don't believe it's 50-50. Because our country isn't there. We're not a 50-50 country to defund the police and to have sanctuary cities where criminals are allowed to be protected. I'm telling you, I think a lot of these elections where they always seem to have an advantage, I don't believe it. I can't believe that some of these states that are blue, that they're blue. I know those people. They're smart people. And I see so many people. They love me because they love what I stand for. And they're not into these things. There's something going on, and we have to be very, very careful. The media, the Democrats, and the so-called experts are now finally admitting what I first said 13 months ago. The evidence demonstrates that the virus originated in a Chinese government lab. Couldn't say it. You couldn't say it. And Dr. Fauci, who I actually got along with, he's a nice guy. He's a great promoter, you know. Not a great doctor, but he's a hell of a promoter. He likes television more than any politician in this room, and they like television. But he's been wrong on almost every issue, and he was wrong on Wuhan and the lab also, very wrong. And we ended the payments. You know, they were started in 2014, and then I can tell you Mark Meadows came in, and I talked to him, and he saw what I saw, and I said, what the hell's going on? When did that start? Started in 2014, and we ended it. Our administration ended it. But generally speaking, I went the opposite way of Dr. Fauci, what he was saying. For instance, Fauci said, do not close our borders to China or Europe. But I did it anyway. And months later, he said, I made the right decision and saved thousands and thousands of lives. He said it was the right decision, but he did not want to close that border. I said, wait a minute, there's tremendous infection over there. We can't let this happen. And we closed it, and I think we saved hundreds of thousands of lives. You remember the number was 2.2 million people in our country who were expected to die. Fauci said powerfully at the beginning, no masks. You remember that? No, masks don't work, masks don't. And then he went into masks, and then he became a radical masker. I would call it. If you have 3, if you have 4, get a pair of goggles also, ideally. And let's wear them for another 5 or 6 years. But Fauci has perhaps never been more wrong than when he denied the virus and where it came from. The time has come for America and the world to demand reparations and accountability from the Communist Party of China. We ended catch and release. That's where you catch somebody. Could be a horrible criminal. You catch somebody, a rapist, a murderer, could be a drug dealer, and we release them. It's called catch. We catch them and we release them into our country. Well, we didn't do that. We empowered ICE to do their jobs. ICE is incredible. The Border Patrol is incredible. Without a border, you cannot have a nation, certainly not a great nation. We fight for other countries' borders, but we don't fight for our own border. Think of it. We fight for other countries' borders, but not for our own. That changed under my administration, but now they're going back more rapidly than anyone ever thought possible. Nobody ever thought that they could do this kind of destruction to our country so quickly. Some of those executive orders that are signed are absolutely insane. The Biden administration seems to be putting America last. You look at these negotiations where so many bad things have happened. 48,000 jobs were lost by President Biden's day one rejection of the Keystone XL pipeline. Why? For what reason did they do that? And if you like the environment, the pipeline is much better than railroad tracks, and it's much better than trucking. It's great. And they ended it on just about day one. 48,000 jobs, not 8,000. They said 8,000. It's 48,000. Think of it. He rejected our pipeline, but he approved the Russian pipeline, which I had completely stopped, going into Germany and all parts of Europe. So I stopped Russia. And I have a very good relationship with President Putin. But there's never been anybody as tough on Russia than I was. And you look at these horrible cyber attacks, you look at all of the things that are happening. We're in a different world than we were in just a few months ago. Yet there's no better example of Biden's failed agenda. Democrats are now attempting to pass the largest tax hike in American history. And it will affect everybody. They're saying it's against the rich. It's against everybody. And a lot of the rich will take off to go to other countries. A lot of the companies that I brought back are going to leave and go back to other countries where they can not have to pay all of their profits out in taxes. They're talking about the biggest tax hike in history by far. They're also pushing a $2.25 trillion infrastructure bill. That's not infrastructure. It's the kind of things that you don't want. 9% looks like it might be infrastructure, but mostly it's not infrastructure at all. The Democrat legislation also includes an extreme plan to abolish single-family home zoning, which would obliterate your home values, increase crime, and destroy the suburbs, all to satisfy the far-left agenda of AOC, Bernie Sanders, Rashida Tlaib, and Ilhan Omar, who's telling us how to run our country. She's had great experience. She comes from a country that's done a wonderful job running their country. Now she's telling us how to run our country. While Democrats push economic policies designed to punish American workers, Republicans must keep on fighting to protect, promote, and uplift the American worker who we cherish. And that begins with standing up to communist China. Last year, China inflicted an estimated $16 trillion of economic damage onto the United States with a virus that I call the China virus because I want to be accurate, that claimed the lives of hundreds of thousands of our fellow citizens. And look at the world. Look at what happened to the world. It's not just us. It's the world. And had we not come up with a vaccine, you would have had a 1917 Spanish flu number. They lost, they say, up to 100 million people. You would have had those kind of numbers. You would have had numbers that were just unthinkable. But because of what we've done as a nation, because of the speed that we came up with a vaccine, the world will not have that. Many places in the world are getting better. Even India today announced that they're starting to heal. What they've done to our Border Patrol heroes is incredible. It's incredible. And these are some of the finest people you'll ever meet. I got to know so many of them, and they're among the finest people you'll ever meet. It's true. They love our country. Despite the worst border crisis in history, we've had the smallest number of illegal alien removals ever recorded. 92% of illegal aliens we removed in 2020 had criminal records. You believe that? 90, over 90, and very substantially probably higher than that. I think around 92% had criminal records. And now they're all being set free and released back into your communities. They don't want to bring them back. And if they are back, they actually have a new policy that if we took them out, they're going to let them come back in. It's the most incredible thing I've ever heard. We cracked down on sanctuary cities, deported gang members by the thousands, and dealt a crippling blow to MS-13, that's the most vicious gang of all, and we took them out of here by the thousands and thousands brought back to where they came. And those countries didn't want them back. And a little story, I said, well, what do you mean they don't want them back? They weren't taking them back. They didn't want them back. They sent them out. They didn't want them back. And I said, that's bad. And they told me that, sir, we can't take them. They won't let us land planes. They're putting other planes on the runway so we can't land planes. They won't take the buses. I say, how much do we pay those countries? Sir, we pay them $500 million a year. Oh, you do? Tell them we're not paying them anymore. And the next day I got a call from all three countries. We'd love to have MS-13 back. We think they're wonderful people. We never had a problem. And now they blew that one too. They blew that one too. I'll never forget it. We'd love to have them back. It would be our great honor to take them back. Those runways opened up like you've never seen anything open up. Biden's also beholden to America's enemies, and so beholden. Nobody's ever seen anything that he actually criticized Israel while the Jewish homeland was under attack by thousands and thousands of rockets and missiles launched by Iran. It was launched by Iran. It was a betrayal of Israel when you look at what happened in Congress. You know, it used to be 10 years ago, 12 years ago, 15 years ago, everybody was with Israel. Today, I guess it's just not in vogue. But you look at some of these radicals that they have in the House of Representatives, you have to deal with them all the time. And Israel is really almost out. It's almost out. It's a very, very terrible thing. And Biden foolishly eliminated the travel ban on terror-afflicted countries. I said, I don't want people in from countries that blow up each other. I don't want them in. I don't want people in that are going to blow up our shopping centers. I don't want people in that are going to blow up our cities. And I won in court. They said I didn't win, and they were right. I lost at the lower court. I lost at the second court, and then I won at the Supreme Court, and we have a travel ban, and now they want to give it up.